Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Extra Lap podcast. Today, we are very lucky enough to have with us Wake Forest freshman Rocky Hansen. Rocky, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Ethan?
I'm doing great, thank you. Well, Rocky, you put together quite a killer senior year, and the start of your whole college career is going really great. So, you know, how did you this is a weird way to start off, but how did you take a minute off your 5K time from a junior to a senior year?
Yeah, so there was a lot that went into it. So first of all, my junior year, I ran 15:21 in cross, and going into that indoor track season, I was not really running great, and like especially with the cross country season, it wasn't how I expected it would go. I expected a little bit more out of myself based on the training I was doing over the summer and how my sophomore track season went.
Mhm.
And things just kind of felt off. Training felt harder than it ever had before. Everything just kind of hurt. I was more irritable. And it all just kind of drove to a point where eventually my coach was like, hey, let's get some blood work done. Like, you don't seem right. You seem a little off. And it turned out I was very, very iron deficient,
Yeah.
like very bad iron deficiency anemia. I had like 6.6 ferritin and 11.2 hemoglobin, which, if you know anything about those numbers, those are extremely
1.6
low.
ferritin? Really? All the way
Yeah.
to six? I had an iron
Yeah.
deficiency myself, and I know a lot of people with iron deficiencies, but I've never heard six ferritin.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was really low. So,
Mhm.
and that was so that was like not January, February 2022.
Mhm.
So, in the fact that it was that low, it was like, okay, during cross country, it was also probably really low, and maybe even for a year or two, it had been low, and I just didn't know.
Mhm.
So, I got my iron up, and then I exploded junior track season, and then senior cross country season, I run a lot faster because of that. So that was the first part of it. The second part of it was just a mindset shift along with the around the same time that I figured out I had efficiency. I just kind of had a mindset shift from like I w- I'm tired of like being like kind of in the middle in the murky waters of like, okay, you can be recruited, but like you can like you can be recruited, but you're not like running the top with the
Yeah.
top guys, going to the top meets. You know what I mean?
You're being
And
overlooked. Yeah.
yeah, and the flip just kind of switched in my head, and I was like, I want to do more with this. Like I know I have more in me. So from there, I just started tackling a lot of the little things. I just like became way more focused and diligent about doing like uh core, sleep, ice, rolling, etc. All those like little things. I just hyper focused and dialed in because I was tired of just settling, which I felt like I had done for most of my running career. And that switch of mindset to being doing everything in my power to progress in the sport was what really resulted and culminated in that track season and
Mhm.
then my senior year.
Definitely. I mean, doing my research and looking at the times and progression through you, just like through the years, it seems like you honestly, as you said, just exploded, right? You
Yeah.
went from being obviously a very talented runner. You ran 15:30s as a junior, but like it was crazy to see. And like, what advice would you give to someone who, is trying to find the value in all the little things to get to the next level?
Well, you got to take them seriously. Like they're overlooked because they're little, but what I've always liked to say is that the little things are actually the biggest things that'll lead to your progression. You can't overlook them. Like if you like I see it and I've seen it in past teammates and I see it now. Like there are some guys that just kind of don't really take care of the little things. They just don't invest in them as much, and it shows in the results. Maybe they're not as consistent.
Mhm.
Maybe they're maybe that extra 1% they've been looking for this whole time in their performance has been from those little things. So I've always said that the little things I'm gonna die on this hill forever. If
Mhm.
you want to like really make some big leaps and all that great stuff and lay down some awesome times on the track and cross country course, I think that investing your time and energy in the little things like recovery and
Mhm.
sleep and strength work, strength training, core, all that stuff will culminate in performance and progression, and also just being consistent.
Definitely. And you said it again, you didn't want to settle, right? As
Yeah,
runners, you can go for long runs, you can get great workouts in, but really it's just about putting in the little work, as you said. And
yeah,
last year, it was a historic year for running, I would say. I mean, you had guys like you, Simeon, the Young Brothers, Connor, all of those guys, Rock, like honestly, just everyone. And you had the great opportunity to run in such honestly talent-packed races. So like Hoka and Nike. So what was that like? I mean, it was those are just stacked races. What do you even like? How do you plan for the races like that?
yeah. Well, I mean, it was awesome to have all the competition around and to have so many amazing athletes at the same time. And it was great that we were all able to kind of um, organize like going to the same meet and like uh, laying down some awesome times and performances and seeing what we're capable of and pushing each other. So it was really great. And I mean, preparation, I mean, like throughout the year, the guys that I raced were those guys. So every time I went to a big race, so like New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in February,
Yep.
uh, the field was Connor Burns, Simeon, um, Cole, Devin,
Hmm.
like the list goes on. And
Everyone.
then Arcadia, obviously, Danny, Connor again, Simeon,
Hmm.
like racing the same guys, and then Hoka and Nike. Like I'm seeing them every like in all the big races I'm preparing for, I'm seeing them.
Hmm.
So it just becomes kind of like normal, but obviously it's high competition, so you just uh do the right training, you're consistent, you take care of the little things leading up, and you take care of business when the time comes. Don't put a whole lot of hype or I don't put a whole lot of hype or pressure on myself for it because I know I'm prepared.
Yeah, definitely. And like just having that confidence and knowing you've put the work in. So once you get online, it must be kind of weird though, because you see all the guys, as you said, at all the races over and over, and you guys are like all spread out. I mean, Devin's from Rhode Island, you're from the Carolinas, Simeon's from
Yeah.
just West. It's got to get a little like funny at some point where it's just like, all right. Can you take us through the Hoka meet in particular? Because
Yeah.
that was a crazy one.
Yeah, no, that was I a lot of my races kind of feel like blurs to me almost. I mean,
Yeah.
they just happen pretty fast, but in that race, I think I was like I feel like in most of my mile races, except for Nike,
Hmm.
uh, I feel like I'm almost like sort of in the middle, like after the first lap, and then like going around at like the 300 mark, I'll swing to the front pack, and I think that's what I did at Hoka. And I just kind of hung up there until the bell lap approached, and I knew Simeon had a incredible kick because I had raced him at Arcadia, and I had witnessed that firsthand. And so the mistake I made is that I didn't make my move at 300. I waited a little bit too long. And
Hmm.
so Simeon passed me and I actually made my surge at like 200, but it was too late because I mean, he's already got like a 3 meter gap on me and 3 meters means a lot. So, from there it was just sprint to the finish, and then it was
Hmm.
pretty crazy like afterwards crossing the line, and it was like, well, how many of us did it? Because I was like, I know Sumi's done it. I'd done it before, and then I saw Tenoda do it, which was awesome, and then Jackson
Hmm.
did it, which was also awesome. So it was a stacked field. It was really cool going in, just like seeing like the sheer volume of talent there was pretty crazy. And then like going to Nike was even crazier because it like one upped it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, this is another weird question, but I always watch the Hoka film, and the DJ's absolutely blaring music in the middle of the field, and there's lights like at the final stretch, and I'm always wondering, like, what? I know you're probably not thinking about that during the race, but like, was it weird at all having all that like extra stuff there, or?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I ran a race in May of 2022, my junior year,
Hmm.
the running lane track championships
Yep.
out in Alabama, and they know how to put on a meet. Like they do the DJ and all that, and they also had like the like flames shooting up on the
Yeah.
back straightaway and the lights and everything. It was sick. So like all this stuff is cool, and it didn't really bother me. I mean, it just adds to the atmosphere and environment and gets everyone psyched up, especially the fans. So.
Yeah, definitely. And like I watching the races and everything, I noticed like you're not content with the pace slowing down, and when it slows down, you take advantage of it. So when do you know in a race it's time to just go and take the lead?
Uh, to be honest, I just kind of feel it out. I mean, I assume the races you're referring to are in Brooks and Nike, which I did not plan on that happening. I fully expected Danny to be at the front leading the charge because that's what he did at Arcadia, but
Mhm.
that did not happen. And so I found myself at the front with Hunter, and we were going like 4:30 pace, and I was like, well, I'll just take the lead. Why not? And then a similar thing happened at Nike. No one's taking the lead, and we're going out in like 62, 61, and I'm like, well, I'll just take the lead. Why not?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I just kind of feel it out, and because I mean, obviously you want to race smart and hard, and I think that it was the smart decision for me to like lead the charge at that moment because I mean, even though it didn't end up in me winning either of those races, I definitely moved things along and I was still competing till to the line with those guys. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
really, it just came by feel and just making the right moves when it's necessary, like so that maybe it's you surprise some guys and the guys aren't ready for the pace change or things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And like, you've ran a lot of 2 miles. So how do you even run a proper 2 mile? Because so I feel like there's a lot of strategy to it, and it can be ran a lot of different ways. But what advice would you have to run?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to get a solid first lap, but the first mile is of less emphasis. And just in general, to me, like, I feel like most races, I try and focus on the second half a lot,
Hmm.
and the 2 mile especially so. So, like, get a solid first lap and cruise the first mile, and then the second mile, like, really start grinding it down and working with the guys around you. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it was at Arcadia. I think we went out in like 4:18 and closed in 4:16, and then
Hmm.
at Brooks we went out in like 4:20 something, and we closed in like 4:11.
Yeah.
So, um, I think that working on the second half of the race is the most important,
Hmm.
and just working with the people around you. Obviously, racing is always going to get you the times that you need if you're in a competitive field. So, insert yourself with those top guys and just see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And like Arcadia stuck out to me too because I looking at it like you step onto the line and there's about 40 other dudes on the line with you. So how do
Yeah.
you like get out in a race like that where it's just
Uh,
it was packed. It was
yeah.
crazy, crazy packed.
Arcadia is always like that, like so many people on the line, and I mean, if you don't get out, then you just have to make the move at the right time. Like I had a pretty average start there. Like I was probably middle of the pack. In most of my races, I'm like the middle of the pack, like at the f- at the first, like 150 meters, and that's fine as long as you just like in a 2 mile, you have a lot of time, but like literally at the 300-meter mark of that race, I moved right to the front. I went around a whole bunch of people and I went to that front pack. So it's critical in the early stages of the race to move to the front because if you don't, then the gap is going to start to form if it's a fast race, which most times it is. I mean, there's the rare cases in championship season where it's a Brooks meet and we're going out slow, or a Nike and you go out slow. But
Mhm.
once that pace changes, it changes like that. So you need to be up front. And in the fast meets, the pace changes even quicker and the field strings out way faster. So you got to be up there when the pace changes.
Yeah. And you were the first person in your senior year to break four. You ran 3:59. So like what was that like? You're the first person that season. Was it kind of crazy or
I mean, it was cool. I mean, uh, Connor ran 359 in February. So I think you mean I was the first new person.
You
Is
were
that what
like,
you?
I mean, like, you were the first one in outdoor to do it, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I was the first new one of the year, I think. But I mean, it was cool. I didn't give a whole lot of um I didn't try to hype it up too much or anything like that because I always knew I was capable of it. Like,
It was just a matter of time, kind of.
yeah, I mean, the way I described it was like, a lot of people try to describe it as the barrier, which I get it. But to me, like, especially since I had run four flat that previous season, it's
Yeah.
kind of okay, like, I gotta get it.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't think of it as like a wall. I thought of it as like a wall. I didn't think of it as like a brick wall. I thought of it as like a wall of wrapping paper, like
Mhm.
something that I can just like punch through pretty easily. And you're like, oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So like after I did it, I was like, yeah, this is a step in the right direction, but I'm not gonna like
Settle.
hype it up and
Yeah.
give it all of this attention. But obviously, it's a huge accomplishment. I'm not trying to degrade the accomplishment at all. Like it's a hard feat, but um, I knew I was capable of it, and I just for me, it's always the job's never finished mentality, and I'm always
The little Kobe
trying
quote,
to seek
job's not
for
done.
more. What?
I said, it's like the little Kobe quote, job's not done, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a great interview. That interview he has.
Yeah. And, the thing also, obviously you run at Wake Forest now. So, like, what went into that decision for that?
Uh, a lot of things. I mean, the coaching staff there is obviously amazing.
Mhm.
Uh, Coach Hayes has coached many amazing athletes, and just looking at a development perspective and like the athletes that he has been able to take from like pretty decent high school runners to like really good college runners. Like you look at a guy we have on the roster right now, like Luke Tawalt.
Mhm.
He ran like 9 10s in high school or something like that, and he all of a sudden he's running 28:59 and 10K.
Yeah.
Like, so the development is crazy. The coaching staff is amazing for one. Um, the academic environment was important to me. Uh, I do care about academics and I want to be academically challenged. So Wake Forest provided that. It's a higher level academic institution. And I do like the small school environment, and Wake Forest is relatively smaller, and it that works better with me. I don't want to be in like a giant lecture hall with 500 people.
Yeah. Kind of hard to focus.
Yeah, it's been nice to be in classes with like 20 or 30 people. It's like really nice. But
Hmm.
the biggest thing for me, like aside from what you would expect, like the coaches and the academics and all that, like the
Hmm.
main thing for me was the like team environment and team
Yeah.
culture. And also the what is it? What's the word for it? The priorities of the program,
Hmm.
what they're looking for. So what they told me when they were first recruiting me was we want to recruit high character people. We don't care about what you've run on paper. Like all that stuff's great, obviously, but we care more about how you are as a person and that you're a high character guy, that you're going to be a good teammate, that you're a good kid. And that meant a lot to me because they've worked really hard to uh take out the people that shouldn't be in the program and put the right guys in, and it's all culminated in a very healthy team environment, and we all gel really well together, and it's just really fun to be a part of a team where like you're with a bunch of really good dudes.
Hmm.
So that's what meant a lot to me, and I that's why I picked it. That was like the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. And, I know you already committed by this point, but the year before you come in, they placed fourth, I believe, at NCAAs, fourth or
Fifth.
fifth,
Yeah, fifth.
fifth.
Hmm.
And, then you come in and, all the other commits in your class are really good, Aiden, Hunter. So, like, is it kind of exciting committing and having all those guys around you, knowing, hey,
Yeah.
we're about to make our.
No, yeah, it was really exciting, like especially since we all kind of committed around the same time. Our recruiting class was like the bulk of us committed by the end of July. Like we
Yeah.
were all basically set and done. And then we had one more commit like later in the year. But so it was cool to like, especially knowing like the volume of talent we had coming in.
Mhm.
Hunter and Wes and Aiden and Vince, who you may not know, and Ty. Like all of them are great guys, and I love having them in my class. So, like we're in the same hall together of the dorm, and
Oh,
we all are roommates with each other. So it's just we hang out with each other all the time, and they're
mhm.
great guys, and love being with them. And I'm looking forward to what we're building in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And the class of 2024, you guys already got a lot of great commits. I mean, JoJo, he just went
Yep.
to extend, he's coming in, and it's really
Yes,
exciting.
sir.
And you talked about the development. One of the biggest things that sticks about your college career thus far is just, most people going from high school to college, it's just such a big adjustment. But, you go to the pre-national nutty comb and you come in sixth. So like, how did you make that adjustment so quickly? What went into that?
I mean, a lot of it is mindset. Like, I think a lot, I give a lot of credit to my coaches for telling me coming in. They told me the biggest thing is like, just because you're a freshman, don't let it make you think that you can't put down some big performances and compete with the top guys. Because keep in mind, you're a top guy coming from high school. You can still be a top guy in the NCAA. So in my first race, like before we left on the bus, my coach told me, all right, are you feeling fit? And I said, yeah. And he said, all right, I expect you to be with the top guys. And I said, okay, I'll just go right up there. So I went right up there and at the Virginia meet. And to be honest, I didn't really know I was running that good. I like went and I was in the last like 200 meters of the race and I saw Kai Robinson ahead of me and I was like,
Huh.
he must be having a bad day. Like, what's going on here? And then I crossed the line and I learned I got fifth, and I was like, okay, never mind. So I did surprise myself, but it like spurred from me just not being afraid to just go up there and be up at the front. And then at Nuttycombe, knowing that I had done what I did at Virginia, I just went right to the front and said, I can compete with these guys. I'm one of these guys. And
Yeah.
once again, it resulted in a good performance. So I think that it's within a lot of the people in our freshman class. They have the ability to do it. You just need to get over the the hump. Like you can be up there. Like you've done the training. You're trained to run an 8K, 10K as fast as humanly possible. Like just put yourself out there.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing. It's a lot about a confidence. I mean, as you said, your coach said to you, you were one of the top high school runners, right? Why can't you go out there and compete with the top guys in the NCAA? So, like to get fit at Wake Forest, do you guys have like any go-to workouts or?
I mean, a lot of college programs are doing the same thing nowadays. It's a
Mhm.
lot of like, I mean, you get your threshold and you get your mileage and you've got yourself a recipe for cross country success. So it's not really anything crazy. There's no secret. Like that's the that's like the thing surrounding distance running. There's not a secret. It's you just got to do the work, do smart workouts, and you'll see success.
Yeah, definitely. And what's it? What's a fun fact about yourself, like outside of running?
I love to watch the NBA. I'm a big NBA fan. My favorite team is the Spurs, and it's not because Victor Wembanyama is there. I used to live in San Antonio.
That's kind of rough life though, Rocky. Being a sports fan,
Yeah, no, we suck. I know, but
it's like
um,
17 games right now.
yeah, no. I mean, I grew up in San Antonio. I lived there for 8 years, 7 or 8 years. So they've always had a place in my heart.
You had
So
some good times though, right?
yeah, no. I mean,
Really? It was a good run.
when I lived there, they were in the championships routinely, and they hadn't missed the playoffs in like 18 years. So
Right, it's because you left, obviously, you left and the program went a little downhill. Yeah.
uh,
Nah, but they got Victor. They'll be back.
yeah,
You
they
know,
will. They will.
the last question I have for you before we go to all the questions everyone sent in is a hot dog a sandwich? It's a big one right here.
I don't think it is just because like it's just kind of its own thing for me. I just like I don't think you can just go off the bread thing. Like I just think a hot dog is its own thing. It's a hot dog bun. It's not a like hot dog bread. It's hot dog buns. And like you look at like a sub, it's still considered a sandwich. And obviously like a bun and a sub are similar, but
Mhm.
I think a hot dog is just its own thing.
Yeah, I was talking to Nathan Green about this one, and the meatball sub was what threw us off. So
Yeah.
this is the
No, I
question
mean
didn't go.
it's
But I
gonna
can
be an
see that.
interesting debate for
And
sure.
for the people's questions, the first question I have for you is, what was your mileage freshman year?
So freshman year, I ran, I think around 45 miles a week. And
Hmm.
then like from there, it was like add on 5 miles per year. So like sophomore 50, junior 55, senior 60.
What are you at Wake Forest around?
Uh, so right now, before I got injured, I was running like 70 a week.
Hmm. And
And like at like my senior year, like towards the end of track season, we were at like, well, going into my senior year during that summer, we were running 60. During my senior year, we would sometimes get into 65 in the winter. And then I was at like 70 to 75 before I got injured here at Wake.
you're kind of on like the bounce back from injury.
Mhm.
So how's that mentally knowing, just coming back for it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've been here before. I'm like throughout my running career, I've had a number of different setbacks. I mean, my sophomore year, I had a stress fracture. My junior year, I had iron deficiency and mental health struggles. My senior year, my during the spring, after the Millrose games, I got a stress fracture and came back for Arcadia, and now I have a stress fracture slash reaction now, or had one in October, and I mean, I've just learned that like this this sport of running is it's up and down, and so I've learned a lot from all of my setbacks and just learned to appreciate them and learn like I treat it as if it's there for a reason. So I've just learned as much as I can from this, and I'm learning a lot from this, and I know that I've come back stronger in the past from all my other injuries. So my sophomore after I got a stress fracture my sophomore year in cross country, I came back and had a good cross country season.
mhm.
After iron deficiency, I had a good track season. After my stress fracture at my senior year, I came back and I ran 8:34 at Arcadia. So I
Mhm.
know that I can come back strong if I just stay consistent in cross training and just believe that can I can still be the runner I am because
Mhm.
I am. I just need to you just need to get healthy and just remember that it's just a part of the journey.
Yeah, definitely. And as you come back, is there any particular goals you have or events you're going to run?
So in indoor, it'll probably be a bunch of miles and 3Ks,
Hmm.
and in outdoor, we're planning on running the 5K mostly and some 15s. I think that the 5K is going to be the focus, but we'll also do some 15s. I don't plan on doing a 10K.
That would,
Um,
yeah, that would be kind of crazy.
yeah, but I just want to go out there and race, man. I'm missing it. I only got to race twice this past season, so I'm I just want to get out there and feel the air competition again and see what I can do.
Definitely. And another question was, do you have any go-to race meals?
It depends on the time of day. I mean, if it's a morning race like cross country meet, then if it's like a couple hours out, then I'll take some oatmeal and banana with peanut butter. If
Mhm.
it's like an hour out, then maybe I'll opt for something like toast and like jam and another banana. Um, if it's like a night race, I like to get like subs because subs tend to be pretty easy for me to digest and yeah, I just keep it simple like sandwich if it's like a later meet or a later race and like oatmeal if it's morning.
Yeah, definitely. And this one is probably my favorite question that I was asked. Do you listen to the Rocky soundtrack as inspiration?
It's definitely inspirational. Yeah, I mean I've got it on my playlist. It's on my music library. Um the Going the Distance and the theme song itself is great. And I mean the movies themselves are awesome too. There's a lot of great tidbits you can take from it. So even though I'm not named after him, I still love those movies and the soundtrack and all that.
What's the best Rocky movie?
I haven't seen all of them, admittedly. I've only
Ooh,
Yeah,
uh,
I need to see all of them. So I can't give a justified answer to that, but I will see all of them.
eventually, that might be the move. Um,
Yeah.
and the last question I have for you is, did you have any expectations going into the Nike Mile?
I mean, I just knew it was going to go out fast. I mean, with a star-studded field like that, I knew it was like it was like a true national championship because all the top guys were there. So I mean, I thought it would go out fast. Well, actually, I take that back. I mean, after Brooks, I kind of was like, okay, there's a chance that it goes out slow. So I was like, you know what? We'll just kind of take things as they come and race and just be up there at the front when things happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Rocky, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. It was great to have you as a guest. Till our next lap, everyone. See ya.
Thank you.